For months now, Democrats have been very doom and gloom about the economy. However, Donald Trump seems to have this ability to constantly surprise the economist experts about what's actually going on in this country. And that's exactly what we see today, as Scott Jennings pointing out this very fact to this panel over here on CNN. And this is a good one. But before we begin, don't forget to like and comment on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
But I'd like to build a DeLorean and go back to April when everybody here was predicting likely to cause a recession. Investment stops and a recession happens. They're not talking about a U.S. recession. They're talking about a global recession.
What was happening in April,
lead to
Scott?
Recession. Eventually, there being a reception.
Very cleverly, if he's chosen to pick
I
my
just
words,
want to point
just
out,
a second,
you called the recession. You took your shoe off.
Would you like to see that again?
You took your shoe off. You brought cookies out here.
15% shoe.
You took your shoe off and you said there was going to be a recession.
Listen, Scott,
GDP is 3%.
It's too early to give a final verdict.
All right, Scott,
It's too early. Just a second, Abby. He's basically calling me out here. It's too early to give a final verdict on the tariffs. You may wish to, but at the moment, it can't be said what the long-term effect is going to be.
I am just a journalist, and all I can do is read the economic data.
It's a bit of a stretch.
3%
GDP,
trade deals, record high in the stock market, cooling inflation.
These trade deals are garbage.
It's actually much simpler.
Garbage?
Yes. Hold on a second. It's much simpler than this. Just one sec, because I think it's super important to understand. Scott, what was happening in April of this year, 2025? What was happening then? What did the president announce on that week, the first week of April? What did he announce?
The president was implementing his tariff agenda.
And what were those tariff levels?
And well, they were different for different countries.
Okay, so
but every single person predicted calamity. Calamity.
Scott, you can't skip steps here.
And there is none.
What were those tariff levels?
They were different. He had a chart for different
not just different. They were 2 to 3 times higher than the current tariff levels. Did those tariffs go into place, Scott?
It's different for every country.
Scott,
it's different for every country.
It's a simple question. Did those tariffs go into place?
He has delayed some of the tariffs.
Yes or no?
He has delayed some of the tariffs, and he's made deals, and he's implemented others.
Did any of the tariff levels that Trump announced on that week, did they ever go into place?
Some tariffs have been implemented, some have been delayed, and some deals have been made.
The answer is they did not. They did
not.
Some tariffs have been
implemented. Some tariffs have been implemented.
All of those quotes.
That's why we have all this money coming in.
We have them here.
Even you said.
You're playing with numbers here.
We have them here.
No, back in April, Abby, back in April.
You guys are so mad. Why are you rooting for failure? Why does this table root for failure?
Please, because you are saying that you are taking a number of 40, 50, 60% back in April, and you're comparing it to a number of 10, 15% now.
Fine, but it was his strategy to negotiate and create leverage,
Scott,
and give us the situation we're in
today. Okay, Sherry Michael, I will let you talk, but I just have to say, completely disingenuous to suggest.
I'm sorry, you were the one
Scott,
calling for a recession in April, not me.
Give me 1 second.
You called for it.
Give me 1 second. Please let me finish. It is completely disingenuous to suggest that what economists said would happen if Trump imposed 50 and 60%, let's jump all the way up to 135% level tariffs on this economy would have been a recession. Those levels never happened, which is why there has been no recession.
You sound
it's not that complicated.
The levels haven't happened, but it didn't stop individuals who were antagonistic to the president and his agenda, whether they agree with him or not, from saying that this is still going to lead to significant inflationary rates. We have not seen that.
Yeah,
and so you would think individuals who were on the negative of this would have at a minimum acknowledged the fact that the president did not implement those high tariff rates, which you just stated.
It is super simple. Did Donald Trump implement the tariff levels that he
No, I acknowledge that the tariff levels my point is,
when you evaluate whether or not inflation has resulted from those tariff levels, how are you evaluating it?
I'll tell you,
they haven't gone into place. So obviously, inflation hasn't increased to the levels that people projected if they had gone into place.
We're arguing two different things. The point that I'm making is individuals who said at the time that this would lead to a recession continue to make the same argument despite the fact that those tariff rates were not implemented. That's the point I'm making.
That was a fun one because you have Scott Jennings throwing the words of these panelists back in their own face faces, right? These are the folks that were out there calling for a recession if Donald Trump's tariffs did in fact go into play. Okay. And you have Richard Quest over here saying, okay, it's still too early to talk about the tariffs. And honestly, that may be correct. However, it wasn't too early for him to make his predictions about a recession. It wasn't too early for him to say that Donald Trump's tariffs would definitely not work. But for some reason right now, it's too early to say that the tariffs are not having the impact that he himself thought was going to happen. But of course, then the constant interrupter, Abby Phillips, has to come out and say, okay, Scott, what was happening back in April when we were making all of these predictions? Well, I'll tell you, Donald Trump unveiled all of his potential tariffs. Okay, all of these countries were going to get reciprocal tariffs they set on us, unless, of course, they met a couple of demands. Either reduce the tariffs on our products and goods, allow us into their countries to sell all of our goods and wares, or, of course, build here in America. That was Donald Trump's leverage. These insanely high tariff amounts in exchange for all of the other countries not treating us like garbage. And everyone knew it was a negotiation tactic because that's what Donald Trump said it was from the very beginning. And now, of course, we have these deals being drawn up. And what are the tariff rates looking at? Oh, 10 to 15%, as opposed to the 50% that was being threatened because we were being treated so poorly by these other countries. But of course, the main piece of evidence that Scott Jennings has to back up his claims is the growth in GDP, right? In 2022, it was 2.5% under Biden. In 2023, it was 2.9%. In 2024, it was 2.8%. And now here we are halfway through 2025, and it's slated at over 3. Okay, so that's some pretty darn good economic news. And not to mention, when you're walking around this country, do you feel like there's an air of doom and gloom? Does it seem like we have an impending recession? No, people are actually hopeful. And according to latest Gallup poll news, you had 69% of people thinking that the economy was fair or good / excellent. Okay, 69%. Only 31% of the people thought the economy was no good. And that actually brings up Shermichael's point, right? All the folks that were calling for the economy to crash based on those really high tariff numbers are the same people still calling for the economy to crash, still saying it's no good despite what the numbers are actually representing. Now, of course, not everything is sunshine and roses out there because we actually had some new numbers come out today from the July jobs numbers, all right? So over here you can see that the Labor Department on Friday reported that employers added 73,000 jobs in July, which is a lot less than the expected 110,000 jobs. However, there's something else also interesting happening here, and that's with job gains. They were revised down tremendously. In May, they were revised down from 125,000 to 19,000. That's a big drop. And of course, you have in June revised down from 133,000 to 14,000. Those are tremendous differences. And that makes me think, what the heck is going on? Because if people are upbeat about the economy as a whole, if the GDP is actually increasing, why in the world would these job numbers be revised down so much? All right, so I have no idea what the answer to that question could be, other than the fact that maybe all of the deportations have been affecting the job market. And so we're still waiting for those jobs to be filled, or there had to be a revision because of certain boxes having to be checked for who qualifies for being able to be counted as a new hire. That's just me speculating. But what's also interesting here is the unemployment rate actually ticked up to 4.2% from the 4.1% last month. Okay, now why is this interesting? Well, don't forget, under Obama, they changed the way that they actually count unemployment. All right, you have to actually be looking for a job to be considered unemployed. So having an increased unemployment of that 0.1% means that more people are actually looking for jobs now, most likely. All right, so that's just something interesting. So put all of this together. We have a rise in GDP. We have no real inflation to speak of. The tariffs appear to be working, and people are upbeat about the economy. The only weird thing we have going on here is these jobs numbers, and I would love to see them go up, but who the heck knows what's going to be happening in the future. But for right now, I'm feeling pretty good about Donald Trump because things seem to be leveling off and improving, and this seems to be reflected in both sentiment and productivity. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me. Do you like t-shirts? Of course you do. And now you can support the channel by buying an Angry Teacher t-shirt designed by me, Angry Teacher. So if you like America, if you like freedom, if you like liberty, then go ahead and click the link in the description where all designs, of course, are 100% mother approved. So enjoy yourself and find something you like today.